Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Welcome to Phil's 2020 summer vacation. I took a week off, but not traveling anywhere, so that gives me a lot of time to get to work on the Mini. Remember, the goal is to have it up and running before the end of the summer. I'll be working on it as the parts arrive, doing what I can, obviously filming it all and showing to you, so let's get started. Regarding automobiles, yeah. Welcome. Have you ever thought to yourself, how do I spend $800 to $1,000 on just boring accessories and gaskets? Well, you've come to the right place. So first, let's start off with just all the gaskets. So this is a giant Felpro gasket set. It's got about 10 different gaskets in it. Manifolds, oil dipstick, thermostat, throttle body, supercharger. What was this one? Some other one, crank position sensor. So all the gaskets. Not very exciting. New bearings. If you remember what the other ones looked like when I pulled them out, even the ones that hadn't failed. This is one of the good ones that I got out. It's massively damaged, it looks like. Right? So new bearings. New upper engine mount. I hadn't mentioned this before, I don't think, but when you compare it to the old one, it's a good idea to get this, and these are fairly cheap. New timing set. This is the chain, the tensioner, the guides, and the sprockets. So full new timing chain or timing set. Water pump for the supercharger. Has not failed. Apparently is a failure point, so get one of those. New alternator. You probably remember the other alternator. This alternator is probably supposed to spin freely, and it doesn't at all. New idler pulley, compare it to the old one. Obviously we need a new one. New thermostat, again, point of failure. Oil filter, what's this? Oil fill, oil pan, plug, and then the tensioner, compared to the ones that are on there. So that is all the boring stuff. Let's take a look at some of the more exciting stuff. Okay, so this is the more exciting table, the upgrades table. I'll just go across and I'll tell you what I've gotten here. This is all sort of based on budget, and I'll explain each piece. So number one, obviously I chopped my exhaust manifold, so I needed a new header. Obviously I wanted to get like an RMW header or a Miltech or one of those ones, but they're fairly expensive. They end up being probably around 1,500 to 2,000 Canadian by the time it gets here, which wasn't in the budget this year. So probably shouldn't have cut that exhaust manifold, but I got these eBay headers, literally no name. We'll see how they go. I'll maybe go into a little more detail when I'm putting those on, but they're super cheap, under 200 I think shipped, which is unheard of. Powerflux bushings, these are just for the engine mounts. You remember the lower engine mount? This is its current state. Okay, so the whole bushing is broken free. So that isn't great. So we need to get that replaced, and I figured if I'm gonna be replacing that, why buy like a factory one or even an upgraded one? I got these Powerflex bushing inserts to just completely replace the ones that are in there, and I went black because I mean, if you're gonna go polyurethane, you might as well go for the race series. And I also got them from one of the other, the side engine mount as well. This is the RMW baffled oil pickup. One of the issues that could have caused what happened to my car was oil starvation as I went around the corner. So this one has little flappy doors. So as you're going around corners, they close and keep the oil close to the pickup. So that's an RMW. All told, I think by the time it got here, this was $270. So again, just small things, but they can add up. Air intake I got last year used. I can't even remember how much I paid for it, but I think it was under $200. So that was a good deal. So that's why I picked it up. I know the debates on whether these are actually hot air intakes. Haha. Whatever, I'll do it anyway. If nothing else, it'll make this supercharger sound awesome. Speaking of supercharger, I believe this is the Mini Mania 15% pulley. So 15% pulley, reduction pulley, just as to give a little extra boost. The reason I went 15%, a few reasons. One, don't need an ECU tune. If I'm gonna do an ECU tune, I'll probably get injectors and I'll do all sorts of other stuff. So no ECU tune required, but also the supercharger is the only piece I can't really replace with something new. So it's probably a point of failure. So I don't want to spin it up to like 17 or 19. The 15 should be just fine and give a tiny little power boost without having to do anything too much and not taxing the supercharger too much. To go along with that, new harmonic balancer, or I guess new crank pulley. I know what you're thinking right now. Oh my God, he didn't go for the dampened one. No, I didn't. These have been selling for a long time. I went for the 0% because I didn't want to overspin any of the other pulleys. They're a lot lighter than the other one. So how much lighter? While we're on the topic, I'm going to introduce a new feature to the channel. This is the wall of weight savings. Since this is going to be sort of a long project, every little bit of weight that I drop off the car is going to be very important. The engine doesn't make a lot of power, and the Mini's actually heavier than you would think. So we're just going to keep track of everything, all the weight we drop off except for the rust pieces, and those will be hard to measure, on this wall. So for example, in that last clip, you just saw I saved 4.8 pounds on the crank pulley. That much lighter. I know there's a lot of forum posts out there about how you have to go dampen or it's going to ruin your engine. They've been doing this a long time, and also a lot of other car manufacturer or car engine upgrades, like other brands, go for something like this and they haven't had any problems. So I'm gonna risk it. I think the lowered mass on spin up is something that I'm after. I want that quick revving engine because I don't have a lot of power. So I think this is a good choice. Colder spark plugs, very straightforward. And this, I think a lot of people will recognize. This is the clutch kit for a Vallejo single mass flywheel conversion. This is very common swap for these cars. You'll see it in Mod Mini videos, you'll see it in the forums. Now what I've done though is, because again, I went for the lightweight crank pulley, instead of buying the entire kit, I bought just the replacement kit. That is the pressure plate and the actual clutch disc itself. And to go along with that, and this is probably the piece I'm most excited about. This is the Clutchmaster lightweight flywheel. How much lighter is this than the regular flywheel? Well, let's take a look. That means between the dual mass flywheel, the OEM one, and the new Clutchmasters lightweight flywheel, I have saved 16.5 pounds. Awesome. So that will go on. And I think between this and the crank pulley, we're going to see some really quick revving, which is going to be awesome. So not the most upgrades, but just a little bit of everything. I don't think this should affect the reliability too much, and I don't need an ECU tune. All told, between this and all the gaskets and accessories, I think I came in just shy of $3,000 Canadian, which was the money I really want to spend on suspension this year. But oh well, here we are. So let's start getting this all in the car. The reason I did this is so I didn't have to explain each individual part. But I'm pretty excited about this, so let's get started. Okay, you've already seen me take the timing chain cover off on the other engine, so I'm just going to do that again, and we'll start working on the new timing chain set. So this seal popped right out. So good thing I have a new one, I guess. As you can see, this one is not exploded, so it's in good shape. And then the two seals that go here and here, we'll be replacing. They just stuck in there, but I have all new ones that go around, and there. So, okay, so I just turned it a little bit to get these holes in the right place, and I just bit the bullet and bought one of these off eBay. Okay, so that's in place. Now I should be able to just loosen this bolt, right? Yeah, like I'm supposed to. Nice. Okay, they look like they're in decent shape, but still, better safe than sorry, right? And I'll just take the gaskets out. 1, 2, 3. And I'll clean those up a bit. We've got replacements for these. So at this point, I'll put it all back together, and that's what you'll see. But I'm gonna take the oil pan off here and start soaking that while I'm doing this, because it's disgusting at the moment. Oh God, oh God. At this point, I'm just trying to decide if I should try and spin the engine back over to stop the oil from coming out, or go get absorb pads to stop the oil from spreading on the ground, and obviously in a panic, I just kind of do half of both. Oh my God. Okay, apparently the engine is not empty. F me. Ah, f. Guess that's why we have absorption pads. Ah, crap. Wow, those just arrived, so I guess I didn't check that all the oil was out before I flipped it. I didn't think to be honest. Okay, it's only been about 10 minutes, and this disaster has been downgraded to an incident. Pro tip, get these absorbing pads. They come in giant packages. Like this, and they do an awesome job. If I had to do that with just like shop towels, I never would have finished. So these are like oil absorbing pads, they're awesome. Okay, let's continue. Okay, my concern right now is I want to replace the bearings. So that means I have to take the journals out, which means I have to turn the crank to get sort of it up a bit so that I can have access to them. I'm worried about putting this out of time with the top. So I think maybe I've done this out of order. I think I need to put the chain back on to make sure it's still in time. Just checked, my suspicions are correct. I don't want to turn them independently because the cylinder moving independent of the valves could cause them to crash together. Now what I need to do is get this bottom sprocket off, which needs a special gear puller, which I don't have right now. So I'm gonna go grab that and I'll be back. Okay, quick service announcement about the crank gear when you're doing the timing set. In the manual I have, like the Haynes manual or whatever, there's a picture of something like this. This is way too big. Maybe there are smaller versions of it, but mine was way too big to fit in there. There's things blocking it. So this is actually the one you have to use. I had to go pick that up. It was like 20 bucks. Okay, the problem seems to be that I'm not sure if this is the wrong puller as well, but anyway, these things keep slipping off. So I've tried a new technique of tying some wire around it so they can't slide. After a while, I can tell you that I believe that this is a piece of trash. So don't use one of these. It's really hard to get on. It doesn't stay on. It won't grip. It's not pulling hard enough. It's more hassle than it's worth. So the new best tool is this. I found a thread about how the tie rod puller is actually going to be better for this. So I'll heat the sprocket again, and then I'll try this bad boy. Oh my God, just definitely buy this one. It's a billion times better. Tie rod puller. Well, you saw how hard that was to get off. And getting the new one on is even tougher because this is an interference fit, meaning I can't just slide it on because it just stops. And we actually have to heat this thing up. And I've seen a video or two or seen some forums where they heat it with a torch. But basically the directions say heat it to 305 Fahrenheit, but no more. So I found a really good way to do that. Got these handy welding gloves, so now I just have to wait. I think it's ready. Didn't work at all. So that didn't work at all. This is the old one. The new one is back in the oven trying to get up to 300 degrees. And here's the new plan. Pull the other one out, put it on as far as I can, line up the notch, and then use this new device which I've developed, which is a 2-inch, actually it's two 2-inch EMT couplers duct taped together. And the idea would be that I put it on as far as I can, line up the notch, stick this over it, hit it with a hammer, slides right on. What could possibly go wrong? I stand corrected, it worked. Good ol' this. Well, it worked. So from the beginning of me trying to actually pull that sprocket off to actually getting it back on was about 5 hours. And when it's 40 degrees out, it just seems like an eternity. In any case, this worked. 2-inch dual couplers duct taped together. Just go buy a piece of 2-inch black steel pipe. Be way easier. I think the split in the pipe absorbed some of the like percussion, so that's why I had to hit it multiple times. Word of warning: I have no idea if this is how you're supposed to do this. I don't know if I've done any long-term damage because you know, the Haynes manual, the Bentley manual, they just say, you know, heat it up and slide it on. There was no way I was getting that on by hand, like just no way. There was only one other video I found, I think Mod Mini Garage. And she's doing the timing set, but her camera cuts out when she's putting the sprocket on. Oops. So I'm hoping I haven't done any damage, but this job is done. As you can see, even with all that hammering, there isn't actually a lot of, or any real damage to the sprocket, and it does appear to be on, so I'm happy with it. I guess we'll find out when I actually go to turn on the engine. Let's move on to the next thing. So this part should be pretty straightforward. Drop in the new rail. Second rail. Now we're getting to the tricky bits. Gear can only go on one way. Which is super obvious. Oh, okay, there's a notch there. So this side has a notch. Got our timing chain here. So one black mark in the link here. I think I already showed this, but I'll show it again. That one's black. And then 2 more at the bottom. And they line up with the little notches, the little arrows on the actual gear. Right there. So 1, and then there's 2 on the bottom one, which obviously I'm not taking off. But the safe thing to do is to get probably the first top one on. And drop this down. Okay, this is what it's looking like right now. And there's the 2 black marks, and then you can see the 2 little arrows, 2 little notches here, which means I would be a little at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the crank a tiny bit, maybe not even a full quarter turn, and get those lined up. Huh. Okay, so yeah, the bolt. Am I loosening it? No, yeah. I'm loosening it here. So how do I get it to turn? Okay, new plan. Take old chain. Put it around. And then pull it. Okay, this is the one. This is the try right here. There we go. Slid right on. I will, however, go and check the torque. 75 foot-pounds. Okay, I've got the cover pretty much cleaned up. Just some brake cleaner. Gaskets are out, the old gaskets are out. That's the front main seal, I guess you can call it. It's front crank seal. Just push it in. Then there's two gaskets here, boom, boom. One is obviously bigger than the other. So just put those in. Well, they don't really pop in as well. The ones I got are blue. Don't think it matters. But these ones are like ridged a bit, so you know when they came in a kit, so that was an easy way to identify them. And then finally, we just need the one that goes around the outside. I'm trying to make sure that the little corner notches are, do the corners first and then push it in. So in a tip you probably don't need, make sure, do the corners and then like do the curves first and then push the flat parts in. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, that is ready to go back on. That is the first major thing complete, which is the new timing chain set, the entire thing. I don't want to shatter your illusions too much, but my vacation is actually over. I'm just wearing the same shirt. And what happened was the postal delays coming into the US actually slowed down a lot of the parts I was expecting. So I didn't get as much done as I would have liked. And in the spirit of, getting more videos out to you faster, I'm gonna end it here after one major upgrade. You've seen all the parts that I want to put on eventually. So I'll keep filming these and putting them out a little bit faster as I put the parts on. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. You should subscribe.